Hey there, cowboy humanoids, and welcome to Barenaked Reviews. I'm your man, Rishi B, and welcome to Westworld, Watch or Not. This is a quick, spoiler-free, surface-level review of HBO's Westworld, created by Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy, produced by J.J. Abrams. And the purpose of this is just to help you determine whether or not Westworld is worthy of your time. Just as a note for future reference, I'll be doing an end of the first season review, which will be spoiler-ridden. Before we get into it, this episode goes out to friend of the show, Jeffrey from Orlando, Florida. He's today's guest of honor because he picked this topic.
I would consider that a great honor.
And you too can be a guest of honor in the future by sending feedback via email to barenakedreviews@gmail.com or sending feedback by liking, sharing posts at the Facebook page or the YouTube account, or sending tweets to @barenakedrevs. And a reminder that all episodes of Barenaked Reviews can be found on rishib.com. And you can see such episodes like reviews of Arrival with Amy Adams, Mr. Robot with that one dude, Man in the High Castle with a whole bunch of dudes, and some ladies too. All right, let's get into Westworld. Westworld is an American science fiction western thriller. Whew, that's a lot of adjectives. Television series created by Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy for HBO. It's based on the 1973 film of the same name, which was written and directed by American novelist Michael Crichton. Love that guy's stories. The program takes place in fictional Westworld, a technologically advanced Western-themed amusement park populated completely by synthetic androids, dubbed hosts. Westworld caters to high-paying guests who can do whatever they wish within the park without fear of retaliation from the hosts. This HBO show is the second TV series based on the two films, the first show being the short-lived 1980 series Beyond Westworld. The HBO show premiered early October 2016, and in November, HBO renewed it for a second 10-episode season. So straight off the bat, for anyone who watched Lost, the NBC show by J.J. Abrams and the Bad Robot crew, you'll enjoy this show. It has that same puzzle-solving, quest-like vibe that Lost did. So going into Westworld, I just was really excited being a Western fan, and the trailers and all the buzz about it, it had, everything that you want from a Western. It had sweeping deserts, sweeping hills and plains, and there's some guys dressed in black who were looking menacing in the trailers and stuff, and there's like gun shooting and stuff. I love Westerns. I'm a huge Clint Eastwood fan, so you stick anything in a Western type scenario, and holy cow, you know what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be watching that thing that you put in a Western type scenario. Westworld, though, I wasn't sure what to expect because I just seen those trailers, and I haven't watched the original movie. All I was really expecting was a Western with sci-fi vibe and maybe a better version of the Cowboys vs. Aliens movie. So I thought it was going to be maybe a better version of that with a better story. What it turns out to be is an evolution of your classic Western. It's leaning much more towards the sci-fi side than it is really the Western side. If anything, the Western is there just to sort of give you a setting. You're based in this Western area, and this sci-fi story is taking place within that. And so the show is starring James Marsden and Evan Rachel Wood and Anthony Hopkins. Those are probably the huge actors who are in this show. It starts off with the cowboy stuff going on, and you got your damsels in distress, prototypical Western story. But then it slowly rolls into that this place is a theme park, essentially, and the human guests who are paying to play in this park, they can do literally whatever they want. And the hosts, the human replicants, they kind of just have to deal with it. They're programmed to not be able to retaliate in any way. These human replicants face whatever they have to face from the humans, and then they're kind of just taken out of the theme park, cleaned up, and then reset for the next day. Aspect starts getting rolled out. The story starts evolving into something a little bit more mysterious, and the park is sort of maintained by different teams. And so there's a back and forth between all the different teams. All this kind of stuff starts unraveling. Really, until you get halfway into the show, into this season, things start picking up. But up until then, it sort of has this kind of regularity to it. But then at a certain point, the show just starts taking a series of left turns. And so from this vantage point that I'm at, pre-episode 10, but at this vantage point that I'm at, I just have to know what it all means, man. What does it all mean? Give me the answers, JJ. Give me the answers. I know you know them, JJ.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's Cast and Crew Honorable Mention!
Today's honorable mention is Lisa Joy. As previously stated in the episode, she and Jonathan Nolan are co-creators of Westworld, and Lisa Joy is an executive producer of Westworld. She hails from New Jersey. She got her start. This is essentially her biggest thing that she's done, but she got her start with writing for the ABC show Pushing Daisies. She was on there from 2007 to 2009. And actually for her work, Lisa Joy's work on Pushing Daisies, she shares a Writers Guild of America nomination with the rest of the writing team from Pushing Daisies. I was reading an interview with her and Jonathan Nolan. I believe that was on Vanity, and I'll share that article in the show notes on rishibi.com. But one thing I observed from what was being stated in the interview, Lisa seemed to bring story around what is happening after the twists. So there's this whole puzzle and quest aspect to the show. She's kind of filling in the gaps between the puzzles, whereas Jonathan Nolan, he seemed to be more about how do I get the twists in there so that they're not, and how do I get the puzzle in there to make it more mysterious for the viewer. And so Lisa Joy seemed to be filling in the gaps between all those the twists and the puzzles, kind of carrying the viewer from one point to the next within this puzzle quest. So wrapping up here, what I like about Westworld, some of the acting is really good. Some of the acting can be a little soap opera-esque, but three guys who are really four people who are really bringing it are Anthony Hopkins, and he's playing this kind of God mode character in the show, and every time he steps onto the screen, holy cow, you just know something's about to go down. Some shit's about to go down. Anthony Hopkins with his cannibalistic ways, and he's not a cannibal in the show, but he just has this presence that, man, just every time he's on the screen, you just want to see what he does. Another guy who's got this presence is Ed Harris, and Ed Harris is playing the villain in this show, but there's a lot more to him, and there's a lot more nuance than just being the man in black, and he's really good. Another guy that's really good is Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright is in this show, and man, he is just really good. His acting is really great. And finally, Evan Rachel Wood. I've always sort of been a fan of hers. She kind of has one thing that she does. Actually, to be honest, all these actors sort of have one thing that they do, I guess. But Evan Rachel Wood, I've always liked her. She is really great. She kind of starts off in one place, and then she's one of the characters that I can't wait to see again, because I just want to see what's up with her. What's up with Evan Rachel Wood? I don't know if people are asking that. The main thing that I don't like, overly soap opera-esque moments. There's some scenes of good character development, so some of the lines are good. But otherwise, sometimes lines can be a little too blunt and not really authentic sounding. Like, it's more like what these kind of characters in Westerns or other stories, it's like what they would say, you know? Like if you're confronted with a villain, you'd be like, you got me, something like that. And it's almost like video game dialogue. There's some other things that aren't necessarily good or bad. It's on HBO, so there's going to be some sexy time. And so there's sex happening. But I noticed that there's not like flat out sex in every episode. And I realized that maybe part of that Because like in Game of Thrones, there's like literally sex every like 3 seconds, They can't stop doing it in Game of Thrones. It's like, hey man, get off that throne or like wipe it down after you're done. And I realized that maybe part of the reason that Westworld doesn't have sexy time all the time is because the replicants are nude. The human replicants, as they're getting work done on them and stuff by the human maintenance staff, they're just sitting there nude. So you can get your fill of sex that way. So it's good for the kids. No, it's not. Lastly, the music in this show is really great. I've noticed that this is kind of a trend I'm seeing in shows recently where there seems to be a lot of focus on the music, and I think that's great. In particular, Westworld has Western-themed covers of modern songs like Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden, Painted Black by Rolling Stones, and The Forest by The Cure. Yeah, they're just really great. So, overall, is Westworld good? Is it worth your time or is it not? I'm going to say watch it. I guess you could say if you're into puzzles, if you're into science fiction, then watch it. I'm going to say that everyone should give this a college try. And whether or not you like it in the end, I don't know. I can't say that, but I can say that everyone should watch this. All right, that's a wrap. Thanks for listening. You truly are the bomb. Find more reviews at rishiv.com. Give me feedback for more epis like this. I'm hungry.